What is up, YouTube? We got The King is Born. We got The King is Born post-maturely, at least on this YouTube channel, because this was supposed to come out the 25th and didn't. It's obviously coming out now, December 31st, rolling into the new year of 2021, and it is going to be way better than this year. I'm telling you, everybody that watches these videos on this channel is going to have a better life. I'm guaranteeing it, dude. I'm having a better life right now. I'm getting myself prepared to go into 2021, facing my problems and going after what I can control in my life and all that stuff. But we got The King is Born today, which I know, yeah, it was supposed to come out on the 25th because it's called The King is Born. Well enough, important enough video for me and in my life, and for I think some people who are going to view this to where it doesn't matter what day it comes out, and it's New Year's Eve, so that's even better, right? The King is Born. There's this unique thing about human beings in life, right? It's something that I think we all experience, and it's not a good thing. It's suffering, right? We all as human beings suffer in some form or another, and we try to, our natural tendency is to fix the suffering, is to fight against the suffering, make it go away, right? And as a flawed human being, as we are flawed human beings, the ways in which we try to fight the suffering sometimes, unfortunately, make the suffering either worse or adds more suffering to what you're already suffering from. I personally hate suffering. I hate suffering from pain. I hate suffering from all kinds of stuff. Loneliness, whatever you want to call it. I hate it. The thing I hate more, though, is watching somebody else suffer in their own life. And for me personally, the two main ones are my biological mother and my brother, who both suffer from mental illnesses. But keeping that in mind, there's a whole world out there, people in my life or in life in general, who suffer extremely more and or the same, or either way they suffer, and I hate it. I hate watching people suffer. The entire world is suffering sometimes. Unfortunately, watching them suffer and watching the personal people suffer in my life and desperately wanting to fix it, I can only do a few things. And one of those things that I do is make videos for people to say, hey, I know you suffer, but there's so many other people in the world that suffer too, and it's okay. It's human. To suffer is being human. You can connect with other humans. You can go get help. Fortunately, that way of doing it, for a lot of suffering, it doesn't fix it. It doesn't make it any better. And I already know that. I already knew that going into doing these videos. Might make an escape, right? But these videos will never fix your suffering, and I already know that. Even though I desperately want to fix every human being suffering out there on the planet of the earth and the people in my personal life. But I say that to say this. What if there was a man who did? What if there was a man who went to the deepest, darkest places of suffering? Places that most people don't even want to fix the suffering because they don't know how, and they think that some people keep themselves there. The places that I come to mind of thinking is, is if the man were to travel, take a road trip to a certain city in a certain place and find the people that are staying there who are homeless and gathering there in that community, right? And they're homeless, right? This is the example that I came up with. And he goes to the people who's a group of guys, and they're using needles, and they're using mostly needles for heroin, right? He sits down with them, and he looks at them, and he asks them their names, right? But he doesn't have any disappointment in his voice. He doesn't have any disappointment in what he sees, right? What he has in his body language, in the way he talks to the men, he's just sitting there talking to them. He's not using heroin himself. He's just sitting there talking to him. And what he has in his body language, in his voice, is pure empathy for the man. He's talking to one particular man. He's looking at him with pure empathy for him. What he's gone through, why he's there, why he's still using drugs, all that stuff. Why he's homeless, all that stuff. He has pure empathy for him. And then it's nighttime. It's like 2 a.m. And he gets up and he says, I gotta go. I gotta go sleep. I gotta go eat. And the next day the man wakes up, the one that he was talking to with the heroin problem. And he says to him, his buddy says to him, hey, do you want to go get heroin? And he says, no, I feel fine. And his other buddy's like, why? You know, what happened? And he goes, I don't know. I think that man had something to do with it. He just kind of knew. He knew that the man cured him somehow. I don't know how. That man doesn't know how. We don't know how, but he cured him. He cured him. He maybe cured him through his empathy and his love. And maybe he just quit wanting to do it, right? So he said, I'm going to go look for that man because he needs to help every one of you guys. He needs to help a ton of people who are suffering from heroin addiction and things like that, and go help other problems in the world. So he does, right? He goes out, he goes searching for the man. And somehow he's talking to everybody around the community. He's talking to everybody, all the corner stores, wherever the city's at, right? In whatever place in the world this is at. And he meets another man, and the other man wasn't saved by him. But he said, what was he wearing? The guy was wearing his winter outside, like right now. So he was wearing a sweatshirt and a jacket. He was dressed very modern. He had long hair though, and he had a cross necklace on his chest. And the man goes, yeah, that was him. That's him. Do you know where I could find him? And the other man says, well, he died. And the other man, the guy with the heroin problem that was cured from the heroin problem, goes, how did he die? And the other man goes, well, he was hit by a man under the influence. He in a car crash and he was killed. And this man who had the heroin problem, right, starts weeping. Obviously, because he was cured by this man that he didn't even know, this mysterious man. He was weeping, and the one thing that the mysterious man wanted him to do was this. The mysterious man wanted him to not weep and then all of a sudden go back to using drugs, because he was so sad, and then all that stuff that he did for him helped him so much, and he was so sad that he needed to go back and use, because that was so painful for him to hear that the mysterious man that saved him died from a man under the influence, just like he did when he met him. And he goes, and instead of going, he knows that day that he didn't even go find the drugs or anything like that. He never used heroin again. That's what the mysterious man wanted for him. Fortunately, he died from the same person, even though he was driving. But that's what the mysterious man wanted for this man, was not use drugs ever again in his life, and he never did. It's a beautiful thing. If you haven't been able to tell already by that story, by what I've been talking about, by all that, I'm talking about a modern day Jesus. I made this story up, right? But I'm talking about a modern day Jesus, something that I believe is real, something that like a lot of people believe is real. A loving, humble, powerful. This, in my story, it's all those things, as well as a non-judgmental and willing to sit with those who suffer the most. I care if you believe in Jesus. I care if you don't believe in Jesus. I care if you suffer from whatever you suffer from. But like Jesus, what I don't care about is whether you are perfect. The King is born. It's about to be a new year. Be your own king. Come into 2021, great, new person. Come into being a new person. Try new things. Go out and live new lives, right? Smash that like button. Leave a comment and subscribe and work to end your suffering. I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed the King is Born video. Peace.